Joining us now to offer his reflections, please welcome the Dean of UCLA School of Law, Michael Waterstone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Waterstone. I have the honor of being the dean here at UCLA School of Law. Welcome back from lunch. As you know, at UCLA School of Law, we are the home of the Promise Institute for Human Rights. And on behalf of our law school and on behalf of the entire UCLA community, welcome back. I remember seeing many of you here last year, so it's great to have us all back together and to bring in new participants as well. So here at UCLA, we absolutely love hosting this event. This is what we at UCLA do. We bring together thought leaders and change makers in human rights, including some of our colleagues here at UCLA and many more friends from California and around the world. Now, this is a special year for our UCLA law community. It's our 75th anniversary. Since we opened our doors in 1949 as the first public law school in Southern California with a mission of public service, we've emphasized the essential role of advocacy for the most vulnerable people and communities. One of the ways we do this is through our Promise Institute for Human Rights. Amongst other things, this gives our students life-changing experiences while they are in law school. And you'll hear from some of them on a panel later today. I know that we have some students here. Law students, can you raise your hands so we can see who you are? Now, they should all be studying for finals, but the fact that they're here says the world about their commitment and dedication to these issues. So just a few thank yous. The first is to our friend and colleague, Dr. Eric Israelian. Eric is someone I consider an advisor, an advocate, and a friend. Eric does two things extraordinarily well that I admire. First, he brings people and groups together to make the whole better than the sum of the parts. And I think today demonstrates that perfectly, bringing together Aurora and the Promise Institute. The other thing that Eric does extraordinarily well is he has an uncanny ability to keep us all focused on what matters, even in turbulent times. And I admire that greatly and thank Eric for that. I want to thank Dr. Nubar Afeyan and his daughter Armina Afeyan and the rest of the remarkable team at the Aurora Humanitarian initiative. Their work elevates what is being done by humanitarians around the globe and has helped millions. And they're an inspiration and an important partner with us. I want to thank and recognize my colleague, Anna Spain-Bradley, for her leadership as the faculty director of the Promise Institute at UCLA. Another colleague, Catherine Sweetser, who organized today's events in partnership with Aurora, all while doing the heroic work of human rights, including carrying a significant caseload, teaching the next generation of human rights lawyers through her human rights litigation clinic, and representing clients who would otherwise not have access to justice. And as a last thank you to all of our speakers and all of you, thank you for being here. You elevate us with your presence. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger. She represents the 5th District, which includes areas in the Antelope, San Gabriel, San Fernando, Crescentia, and Santa Clarita Valleys. Now, fun fact, this is the largest district in LA County by area. It's bigger than the states of Delaware and Rhode Island. She's committed her professional career to public service, advocated for, and worked to improve social services across the country, and has been a champion of the environment. She was first elected to the Board of Supervisors in 2016. So please join me in welcoming Supervisor Catherine Barger.
All right, good afternoon. Now, where I come from, we say, good afternoon. I can't hear you. There you go. I want to make sure you are all still awake. First of all, thank you, Dean Waterstone, Waterston, for that generous introduction. I do represent the largest district, but all 5 of my colleagues, we all represent approximately 2 million people. Los Angeles County is home to 10 million people, and I am proud to represent the incredible 5th District. I want to also thank the UCLA School of Law, the Promise Institute of Human Rights, and the Aurora Humanitarian Initiative for bringing us all together today. And I, too, consider Eric a dear friend. This is a man who truly does lead with his heart, and he not only talks it, he walks it in so many ways, and so I want to thank him for inviting me today. It is an honor to welcome you to Los Angeles County for this global forum. I just don't say that with pride, I say it with purpose, because this county represents so much of what this forum is about: resilience, diversity, and the pursuit of justice. LA County is one of the most culturally rich and globally connected regions in the world. But that identity was not built overnight. It was shaped over decades by people who came here seeking safety, opportunity, and a better life. Refugees, immigrants, and families from every corner of the world helped make this county what it is today. And it's that lived experience of adversity and community building that makes Los Angeles County a fitting place for a forum focused on modern-day humanitarianism. But we are also a community that has been tested. In recent months, wildfires have swept across our communities, leaving scars, not just on our hillsides, but in the lives of nearly everyone that calls this place home. Whether you were personally affected or know someone who was, the impact has been profound. I personally have at least 10 friends who lost everything in the Eaton Fire, an area that I represent. Homes were lost, families were displaced, the first responders were stretched to their limits, but in this devastation, I saw something else. I saw people coming together. Neighbors helping neighbors, first responders putting their lives on the line, community organizations delivering food, shelter, and comfort, churches, nonprofits, and volunteers stepping in where they were needed the most. That kind of response did not just happen. It reflects who we are. That is truly resilience. And in that same spirit of showing up, of rebuilding, of refusing to give in to the hopelessness, that brings us together for this conversation. And we will rebuild stronger than ever. That is not just a promise, it is a statement of fact. Because the spirit of this county is unshakable. I share that because today's panel, Modern Day Heroes, Lessons in Resilience from Aurora Humanitarians, reflects the same kind of strength and clarity of purpose. It speaks to the courage that rises in moments of darkness, the moral conviction to protect dignity, even when it is dangerous, the choice to step forward even when the world looks away. As a county supervisor, I've seen the most powerful change doesn't start in government buildings. It starts on the ground, in communities, with people who are committed to protecting others, no matter what the cost. In the face of natural disasters, we've learned that it's just not about the emergency response. It's about long-term recovery. It's about helping families regain stability and mental health support. I've worked closely with community organizations who do this work each and every day, often quietly, without recognition, and without enough support. In each of these cases, the most successful responses are people-centered, community-driven, and built on trust. That's a lesson I hope we carry forward from today's session. The real resilience is rooted in the people. That's why today's panel matters. This next session is about the heart of our gathering, The leaders you will hear from today are not abstract examples of heroism. They are real people. They have put themselves on the line in conflict zones, refugee camps, and forgotten communities to protect the vulnerable and uphold human rights. They have risked everything to protect the vulnerable, uplift human dignity, and challenge systems that failed those that are most in need. Leaders who faced war, persecution, and loss, and choose to respond with compassion and with strength. They remind us that humanitarianism is not just a philosophy, it's a choice made every day, often under the most imaginable circumstances. They also remind us that the real solutions are rooted in local leadership, in trust, culture, and a community voice. The global humanitarianism system is at a crossroads. Resources are shrinking, crises are multiplying, but that doesn't mean that we give up. It means we must be creative, and I would argue lean in hard. We must adapt. We must invest in local capacity. We empower the people already doing the work on the ground. And we must recognize that the lasting change comes from within. That's why the work of the Aurora Humanitarian Initiative is so essential, especially now. Aurora doesn't just spotlight heroic acts, it amplifies the voices that too often go unheard. And it reminds us that moral clarity and courage still exist, not just in the headlines, but in communities all around the world. In fact, they are alive and well in the people you're about to hear from. So today, I invite you to listen not only with your minds, but with your conscience. Let this panel challenge us all, not just to admire heroism, but to act, to rethink what humanitarian response can and should look like, to elevate the role of local leaders, to make sure that dignity, not just survival, truly is our goal. This isn't simply a celebration of courage, it is a call to action. A reminder that when the world looks away, someone must choose to step forward. The stories you'll hear today are not merely examples of bravery, they are blueprints on how we move forward in Los Angeles County, across this country, and around the world. It is now my honor to introduce some of the world's most courageous voices, individuals who have redefined what it means to serve humanity in the hardest of circumstances. Again, I will challenge you all not only to listen, but to effect change. Thank you. The floor is yours. Thank you, sir.
First of all, I want to welcome all of you again. I welcome you because the very act of our gathering here sparks the courage needed to face these times. And who better to thank for giving us this courage by their very presence and their very work and their very lives than the extraordinary panelists we have assembled for you this afternoon. So thank you and welcome. It is very difficult to find sparks of hope nowadays, but hopeful we have to remain. And your being here demonstrates to us that no matter how dark things may look temporarily, no matter how casual the cruelty that we have seen and sometimes experienced directly, there is always the possibility of something transcendental that can lead us to a better place. So I personally thank you for rekindling my own hope, and I'm glad that you're with us today. About 2 or 3 months ago, I was speaking at the National Library in Jerusalem. The subject was hope. and I was not even sure I could possibly be coherent. Speaking about hope, in Jerusalem in the month of February 2025. But speak I did, and I was not entirely persuaded myself that I was making sense. But when I remember all of you, and we have met several times before, it leads me to believe that this is indeed a valid subject of exploration. And so it is on this that I would like us to start this afternoon. And who better to kick us off than Maggie? Maggie, I have now known her for about 4 years. And every time I see Maggie, she's always smiling. See, she's always joyful. And I know her neighborhood, and she's joyful and loving despite the evidence. So I want to ask you, in front of all these fine people, where one finds love and joy in the extreme circumstances of Burundi that you have had to immerse yourself in these past few decades.
Thank you. I am so sorry for my French English, but I will ask you, if you don't understand my French English, ask to your neighbors to translate. Yeah. Because, of course, I am not shy. I am a crazy woman. Everybody in Burundi, all the journalists, because they found me among those orphans, more than 251 babies, and I continue to smile. And the journalists wrote, I met a crazy woman. And then I said, of course, where I found this joy, I found it in my faith. I found it in my childhood, because my mom always in the morning told me that I am a princess. We are created. God give us enough strength. It's because of my faith. Because when he died on the cross, he said, don't be afraid. I will be with you until the end of the world. It's where I found my smile. I have suffered so much. They killed my family, 60 members of my family. They killed 72 people in front of me. They tired me. And finally, 2 years ago, I got a cancer. And a doctor saw me smiling and asked me, but I told you that you have cancer and you laugh. I said, yes, because I know that this cancer missed the address. He will run away. Then you see, I am here to celebrate the humanity because I know. Yeah.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you. By the way, Maggie just wrote a story of her life. Love made me an inventor. And I will come back to this subject of love towards the end as you enter your eldership of love, what the poet David White calls the eldership of love. Thank you, Maggie, for your opening remarks. I should love to go to Sima. Dr. Sima Samar, you have seen many things in your young life. Dr. Samar, how does being, at least for now, separated from the roots of your lifelong work, how does it feel? How does it affect your daily existence in the Republic of Massachusetts?
First of all, it's really my pleasure to be here, and I, as colleagues said, I actually become recharged to continue the work that I do. Yes, unfortunately, I witnessed the destruction of the work that I did, and gone through a lot of difficulties working for the people. Actually, I'm a medical doctor by training. Then I started the Hospital for Women and Children because women were not really mentioned during the conflict in the country. As still, they're not the one who actually mentioned by the people in all the conflict. I mean, the conflict around us, it's always the heroism of the men who take the gun, who does the explosion, and who invent all these new bombs and things. So that was, I started, and I faced a lot of problems because we had the Russian invasion in the country, and I lost, of course, as you did, I lost a lot of members of my family. My own husband was taken when I was only 23, and I never saw him again. He and his 4 brothers, I mean, the whole family actually lost 63 people. The problem is that we never know where and how they were killed and where they are buried. But I decided to do the work I wanted to do, and mainly for equality, and raise the voice of women who were forgotten within the society. So I faced a lot of challenges by the fundamentalist groups, by the Mujahideen group, and by the government. So I create enemies for myself, and I don't mind. Because I think when you bother some people who does not do the right thing, or they violate the people's human rights, it means that you are somebody who bothers them. I mean, you touch them, you harass them. But we worked with Sakina John during the first Taliban regime, who did not allow the girls' schools, who did not allow women to work outside of the house, who did not really allow women to even wear high-heeled shoes because the footsteps make noise and disturb the men. So how naive you are that you are disturbed by anything moving around you. So I worked a lot. During that time, I provide health care and I provide education to the girls and boys, because I believe education is key to empower people. Education is a crack to open the door of opportunity for everybody. Then I became the Minister of Women's Affairs because I was lobbying for inclusion of women within the system. And I built the Ministry of Women's Affairs from nothing, and nobody was supporting. Nobody was supporting, because women is always, in our country, is always the side event. Mm-hmm. Even if they have a big conference, then the women's rights is side event. So then I established the Ministry of Women's Affairs, and I was calling for accountability. Yeah. What was discussed this morning on the issue, I asked the moderator, I said, one thing that you missed was to end the culture of impunity. We should promote accountability. I think we should avoid revenge, because revenge is creating more problem and more hatred, but we should fight for justice. Fight mean not really fight, mean not taking gun for justice, but to resist against injustice. Because for me, injustice in Afghanistan is injustice everywhere. So Afghanistan is also a humanitarian crisis, and not mentioned by a lot of people, because we had almost every country is involved in Afghanistan, and it's a collective failure. Mm. After 20 years of fighting and really trying to promote the country to put the country in the right direction, we all failed. And now we don't want to talk about it. We deny. I think the denial of the situation in Afghanistan in women's rights is a cause of a conflict everywhere. Mm. And it does impact everywhere. We saw it in 9/11. Mm. And I, as a citizen of this planet, I don't want to see it. I don't want that to be repeated. And I hope not to be too selfish, that we should focus only in Afghanistan, but I think the normalization of human rights violation is a sad story of all of us, of humanity. Because if there's no human rights, if we do not fight for humanity, for human dignity, then what is the meaning of our existence?
Yes. Thank you. So that's an extraordinary entrance into your story when you are pushing against the tide in a country like Afghanistan, the kind of things that make us unhappy and angry even and frustrated in these parts of the world, in these United States of anxiety, pales in comparison to what you have had to face. And it causes us, I think, to be humble in how we approach things. It is a real testament to the work of Aurora that it is voices such as yours that need to be promoted here and not ours. And we have professors, and we have John Prendergast, and we have all of these fancy people who have met with Steve Jobs. But until we hear from you, we have not heard the stories of how to be alive and how to share as human beings. Luckily, my career that's taken me to over 120 countries. I'm an expired newspaperman, by the way. I have seen many examples of this kind of heroic act that you have been engaged in. And so we go to Mirza and the House of Coexist, John Prendergast, and we have all of these fancy people who have met with Steve Jobs. But until we hear from you, we have not heard the stories of how to be alive and how to share as human beings. Luckily, my career that's taken me to over 120 countries. I'm an expired newspaperman, by the way. I have seen many examples of this kind of heroic act that you have been engaged in. And so we go to Mirza.
Thank you very much, Dele. Well, let's start a little bit from the time earlier. It's so difficult for minority groups it's generally difficult to be a member of a minority group in Middle East, but in Iraq especially. And to be a Yazidi is more difficult because you are a survivor of 72 genocide during the history. And the people around you, still there is this kind of stigma. They believe you are devil worshippers. So there is some kind of justification if you are killed. They say, okay, it is your fault of your grandfathers. You didn't accept the religion, therefore they are killing you. It's not me. There are people, some fanatics around you who are killing you because you are not, you are believe of something that the people don't believe in. Although it's not true, but anyway, this is a kind of a stigma. So and the suffering of Yazidi community is transgenerational suffering and trauma. And I am grown up until 18 in that atmosphere where I feel myself a citizen third degree, that I don't have really right. And if I have a minimal right in my country, it's just because they are good to me. So in that form, not because I'm a citizen. And then the first horrific thing that we heard is what 2007, as Al-Qaeda terror organization sent 2 truck bombs to 2 Yazidi villages in northern part of Iraq, so in Sinjar, 2 villages, and they killed by this attack more than 300 people and injured 800 people. It was the biggest terror attack of Al-Qaeda against the Yazidi community, although Yazidi were not actually in any position of decision-making in Iraq. It's just a minority, peaceful minority, isolated in the northern part of Iraq. And my humanitarian career started from that time. I was at that time in Germany. I started humanitarian mission, helped the family of victims raise some fund for the families of the victims. and I saw a couple of the children in the hospital starving in very bad situation, and I made an appeal in a German newspaper to take those children to Germany for the treatment, and I was so lucky that 2 hospitals offered their support, and we helped them. But the next change that came was the genocide that committed by ISIS against Yazidi community, where the whole community was expelled and from Sinjar, more than 10,000 victims in 2014. And I started humanitarian mission at the beginning to bring food and water to the mount with a helicopter, but with different aspect and different kind of humanitarian engagement that I did that had changed my life. I was fortunate to be one of those people who are doing their duties, but just maybe the loop or the camera or somebody reported about me. Therefore, I have been known as one of supporters of the Yazidi community, but generally in all our community there are many heroes. It's just a capture whom you can find, and Aurora found me somehow, and so interesting that I don't know who nominated me. To be honest, till now it's not a secret, but I don't know. I didn't trust to ask them. Maybe I have to ask. So after getting the prize, I said, well, it is so bad to live all the time as a victim and in a position of a suffering and crying and screaming. You should be somehow a changer of the game, and therefore I allocated the money of the prize to establish a cultural center, multi-diverse cultural center in Sinjar, where genocide had happened. It is a center, as a community center of almost 1,200 square meters with 2 hectares of the garden in the middle of the desert. So I remember as I decided to do this project, everybody said, "Oh God, you are making an establishment in a place where conflict, militias can occupy the place, a bomb can come, airstrike can come, and the donor will be not that happy." But I was so lucky that Aurora family and the co-founders, they found a good idea. Although everybody said it is high-risk situation, and building an establishment with the principle of coexistence and trying to establish this kind of peace in a community, in a place where we do not have still transitional justice, it brings also a lot of a problem inside the community, because everybody say, well, the perpetrator are still believe that we are infidel, and you say, no, I would like to have a center where I would like to honor everybody in the Iraqi diversity. So in our center is every single room, even the trees, named after some people from the Iraqi diversity, from Shia, from Sunnah. We have also, for example, our library is named after Professor Vartan Grigorian, because I think it was the spirit of Aurora so important inside, or the convention, our convention center is named after Ararat. For those people who don't know, Ararat is a mount in the old Armenia, but nowadays in Turkey, and so you can imagine the Armenian people just are looking to a mount that is sacred for them, but they cannot reach it, you know? Yeah. So therefore, I saw it's so important in honoring of Armenian genocide to have a name that is sacred for everybody. Starting this kind of low-profile dialogue has helped. Within 2 years, we had almost 69,000 visitors in the center. And also encouraged all the diplomatic family. For example, the German Minister of Foreign Affairs came. It is far away from Baghdad. It's more than 600 kilometers. You should drive at least 8 hours to reach this place at the end of the world. But I think it deserves to establish a kind of philosophy that we believe in. We should find a way to coexist, which is so important that everybody accept each other. I don't need to even accept what you believe in or your ethnicity, but I have to respect your identity, what is it, whatever your identity is. And I think this is the core element of that.
Okay. So I was interested in the idea you mentioned where people sort of thought you were crazy to be starting this center, that it seems for the scale of the problem that this is just a small blow for the idea of human coexistence in a very rough neighborhood. And as you said, the rockets might come, the warplanes might come, the fragments of ISIS might return and dismantle everything you've done. Does it take some kind of craziness and foolish optimism, the way that Maggie described earlier, to be able to do the kind of work that you do in a very difficult place? As is true for Sima, when you've gone through all the various mujahideens and Soviet tanks, and then the Taliban came, and then the Americans came, and then the Americans left, and then the Taliban returned. And how do you just keep doing stuff in the face of unimaginable odds? Do you have to be a little crazy?
Yes. Yeah, I think yes. You should have a kind of, you should have a kind of vision that you believe in. And for my perspective, the dimension that I saw through, since 2007 that I started my humanitarian career. So as a human rights activist, I'm almost 30 years in that business for minorities, but in humanitarian, especially in humanitarian care, helping the people, helping the victims, is since 2007. And the scene and the pictures that I saw during the genocide, even for those children who were victims of terror between 2007 and 14, it is a kind, just like a dynamo that move you forward and make some decision. And because you are just on the ground, you know what is exactly needed in that region or that particular community or place. Sometimes, this is unfortunate, sometimes you think maybe 1 or 2 years before the people are thinking about that. It is this kind of craziness that you reach you that point, but you need it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yesterday and earlier today, Julienne was sounding very concerned about whether she would be able to express herself fully in English. So I have like 2 words in Swahili. I don't really speak French, except to say that a woman looks lovely.
You can't.
And I know you don't speak Arabic, so we are stuck with this English language.
Yes.
The only thing you can say for the English is that they at least gave us soccer. So everybody has something worthwhile in them. So let us forgive the English for all their sins, and there are many.
Yeah.
And speak in English to this audience today, to the best of your ability. And when all else fails, borrow from Maggie, and they can ask their neighbors to translate whatever language you feel comfortable in speaking. We go to the Congo. It's as tough a place as can be imagined. Some 30 years ago, I think almost to the day, in 1995, I was a correspondent running all over the African continent, found myself in the Congo, just to describe a little bit of how chaotic Congo is. We came out of the plane, 5,000 people met us on the tarmac. Somebody snatched my passport, and in the melee, I found myself on the other side of the terminal, in the Republic of Congo, without my passport, without anything stamped, and people have to find a way to survive and to make a kind of life amidst such chaos and continuing injustice and violence. So you have been in this for decades now, Julienne. How do you still show up? What makes you show up?
You already asked him if she's crazy or not. I think all humanitarians, we are crazy. Because if you are not, you cannot take risk and do what we do in the context. Yes, my country is in the center of Africa. And we have many minerals. All they use to fabric computer, telephone, or everything coming from my country. And our neighbor, each one come to take something. If you have a house, you don't protect good your house, all people come and stolen, and we pay for that. And my father said to me when I was born and when I grew, that we need to fight justice. We need to fight for peace. And he bring all tribes in our house. We live with them. We didn't choose who is who come. And I grew with this. And when I was a journalist, but I was not a journalist as you, but a journalist to educate. I was travel. Our beginning in my work as journalist in a radio, and we educate people about human rights, about justice, about family planning, everything. And we went to the village also to see how people live, what is the need, and women ask me questions. I understand that they need to speak, but they cannot, because in our customers, I don't know, they don't allow them to speak. And I say myself, why I cannot bring the voice of women and talk about. And when war coming in our country, I beginning to organize some podcast to speak about peace. Mm-hmm. I invite traditional chief, I invite leaders from community to speak, to tell them, nobody can win from war. We need to build peace so we can live and we can beneficiary to this. But they don't understand me. And when I say to the radio that women don't give your children, your boys, to go to the militia, they say that they attack me. They attack my family. Many times we go to the forest, I can say, to try to save our life with the children. I have a good husband who supports.
That's a good start.
And my children also support me. Sometimes I'm afraid, I say myself, I'm a problem for my family. Because every time militia come and attack, they destroy our house, we lost everything. We leave this province to another one, and another one, and we lost everything. And if my husband don't support me, he will just abandon me. But he still supports. And my children tell me, no. When I cry, they say, no, You cannot cry because you do the good job. You support women to go to access to justice. You need to continue to do that. But I went around the world to speak about the situation and call for solidarity from other women and men who can help. And I go also, we sent also some letters to different governments to ask them to stop the war, to help. Even if this time, war is going on. East of DRC is occupied by Rwanda's army. We have many militia in East. They kill, they rape, they do everything. Each day, I receive many messages from women to ask me to do something to help, to assist, to stop. And sometimes I ask myself, why they think that I am able to stop this war? And sometimes I send them a message to say, my sister, I'm weak, I cannot. I think I need just to. And they tell me, no, you cannot. We believe you can do something. But I try to speak about, nobody come to stop. Now we see Americans come with a process to peace, but it's business process. We don't know how, as people, will participate, how they can take care our problem to put inside to this discussion. And we see also Doha come, but it's tough, but we hope.
Yeah.
We hope.
Thank you, Julienne. You deal with crimes of a particularly personal nature. And it seems to me, knowing your story over the years, that one of the tools at your disposal is to figure out ways to give dignity to these women who have been victims of violent rapes on a mass scale, dislocation of their communities, destruction of families. What tools make it possible for you to kind of give people a little bit of dignity so they can try to build some kind of a life in a place of continuing violence and injustice?
Survivors themselves tell me, when we bring the case to the justice, when the perpetrators are condemned, they say, when our families saw that those perpetrators are condemned, and when you come to support us, you give us medical support, you give us psychological support, you give us, you pay for us the fees for justice, and we have also a center where women come to speak themselves and to support each other, and they can learn also some activities to help them to integrate the community. These help the survivor to continue their life. And it's given me and my colleague the capacity or force to continue also the way. But it's not easy. It's not easy because when you have no money to support activities, to pay salary for staff, or to buy medicine for survivor, it's very, the kind of the problem, it's you feel bad. You need to help. You see the problem, but you have no money to support.
Thank you. Thank you. Sima, I want to come back to you briefly about kind of trying to understand the fairly dramatic dichotomy between your life in Afghanistan and your life at the Fletcher School. What is it you are appreciating the most about this moment in your life, and how does that build on the work you have spent a lifetime doing?
Thank you. It's a good question. I was in exile in Pakistan for 17 years, but I chose to go to Pakistan to be as a refugee and worked over there with the refugee population and also inside Afghanistan with a lot of difficulties every day, opposition of the Islamists, unfortunately. Then I went back to Afghanistan and started the Ministry of Women's Affairs and also the Human Rights Commission. Mm-hmm. And Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission was one of the, I would say, with this A status within the international national institution of human rights around the world, not only in our region, but also around the world. We did a lot of works on different issues. We changed a lot of legislation in the country. And we, of course, we had, for first time, we had elimination of violence against women law in the country, although it was not approved by the parliament. We had a national consultation on transitional justice because my aim or my colleagues' aim was to actually to bring a real reconciliation between the people rather than dressing the wound, to heal the wound rather than dressing it and hide it behind this bandage. But of course, suddenly we lost because of the corruption. As I said, it's a collective failure of Afghan people, Afghan government, and the international community, including United Nations. But then I came here with B2 visa, with visit visa after COVID to see my family. And I was supposed to go on 10th of August. And the family over there and also here, friends, said, postpone your ticket, postpone your ticket. I postponed my ticket for 2 weeks. One morning, I woke up and everything was fallen. And this time the exile was not an easy one, but it was some friends who introduced me to a lawyer. She helped me to get the O1 visa. Then I got a job at the Carr Center for Human Rights in Harvard for 14 months, which gave me the time and the possibility to reflect, of course. And I wrote the book, Outspoken, My Fight for Freedom and Human Rights in Afghanistan. And I would like colleagues to read it. I'm not saying that you should buy it, but I think
it's
it's worth buying. Then I'm at Fletcher School. I think it's Fletcher School gave me, now it's my third year, so I'm really happy because I teach the students on transitional justice experience in Afghanistan. And I hold some workshop with the students on access to reproductive rights in conflict zones, because one of the problem, I think, is for inequality between the different gender, I would say, is lack of women's access to reproductive rights. That's why they're deporting to Libya or El Salvador or and people who are dying in Mediterranean every day. And then in all of those ships, they are Afghans. And any border between Iran and Afghanistan and border between Iran and Turkey, Pakistan, India, you name it. We are deported from everywhere. And it was because of lack of women's access to reproductive rights. Everybody's access to reproductive rights, but unfortunately, women's are more in need to that support. So I am trying to guide the students on leadership of women and give them self-confidence. And still, we are working a network of us to codify the gender apartheid and the Convention of Crimes Against Humanity, because what the Taliban does, we cannot name it otherwise. No access to education beyond 6th grade, no work outside of the house except on health sector. They have to be accompanied even in the health sector by male member of the family. And they cannot walk, they cannot. Recently they said that with their new laws, vice and virtue law, and women's voice is haram.
Yes.
I mean, should not be heard by anyone. I mean, the only country around the world who put official ban on education, access to education, in news or religion. Islam means peace. It's against our religion. It's against human dignity, I would say. So we are lobbying for that, and also working with the students of Tufts. We already worked on violation of CEDAW, Convention of Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which is ratified by Afghanistan. Currently, we are working on CRC, Convention of Rights of Children, because Afghanistan ratified, and it's our obligation. And the Taliban claims that they don't need any law made by people. We have the law of God, yes, we do have the law of God, but that's not the other countries also preserved, because we are not the only Muslim country in the world. And they use, it's against our culture, it's against our religion. So I have to say that I'm very grateful that Fletcher School gave me the possibility to continue, and I'm working on longer version of Persian book for the young Afghan girls and maybe Iranians, the Farsi-speaking people, that how important is to be educated and how important is to be a good citizen and responsible citizen. And yeah, we are in a difficult area, a difficult situation, but I think I'm happy to say that I have impact back in my own country. I still try to find some money here and there, and I was just telling my sister, Sakina, I said, I begged all of my life in order to find $5 to send to a girl to be educated. And yeah, I try to survive. Yeah.
And yet it's vital work. I don't know whether any of you noticed in the earlier panel before we broke for lunch, when Uni, responding to the question of what he would like to see in the next 1 year, said that students should be able to protest freely. In this United States, I think I'm still grieving for the country that I knew. And because I'm a true believer. How could you not be? This is the country that welcomed you when you fled your own country and gave you different opportunities, and you make a career, you make a family, you make a life. And all of a sudden, the pillars of that belief are tottering. And it seems to me the urgency of the moment we face is to prevent this United States from going under, because it has devastating effect on the rest of the world. And so I wanted to ask you, Mirza, how you're feeling these changes, these cold winds that are blowing out of Washington, because it's affecting the whole world. How is it impacting your own work in northern Iraq?
Yeah. Like every place in the world, we know that lack of funding and changing the whole system and USAID has stopped almost 70 to 80% of all humanitarian work, let's say the different engagement in certain sectors had affected completely because within one day offices were closed, as we heard yesterday and today. So it's definitely a very difficult era that we are going through now in general. The potential that we know that civil society and also private sector and the whole philanthropy cannot replace governments. And what's concerning me is actually two things. One of them is that solidarity on the country levels, on the political international level.
Money, the idea
exactly.
of solidarity
So
itself.
this kind of solidarity, it is not an issue that you say what I am going to win if I support Congo or if I support a vulnerable group in Iraq or in Syria. Because you will not earn anything from them. You will not going to win anything. You, as a country, you have this moral responsibility to the vulnerable groups, vulnerable countries, the places where is crisis is. This is the situation that I think the policymakers and the politician on the upper level in those countries. They should understand that the solidarity with the human being is one human family, that we have the solidarity with each other shouldn't be a kind of a business between two countries. This is the thing that is missing, unfortunately, nowadays. The change is so difficult. The second issue is, for example, if I'm coming to USA, America is all the time was mother of kind of democracy, human rights. So now, if the people go on the level of local understanding and keep every countries as they left Afghanistan behind, as they are doing with Syria now. So they are bringing whatever he is doing. So they are bringing a group of terrorists and giving them the country and say, you can now govern it. So what the people who were fighting the whole their life for this dream of being part of a human family, being part of a global activism, defending the human rights, how you can justify this kind of change on the political level. This is the second thing that concerns everybody. I think we are now in this transitional period where we have to address the issue of humanitarianism to the policymakers and say, you should stop here. We share some values and principles that we have. You go back to that, as America was a mother of the freedom, mother of the democracy, should return back. I think this is one important point.
Thank you very much, Mirza. People have coping mechanisms when they're under stress. One of the memes that was going around recently was, when you're entering a coffee shop or a bar and they have a blackboard on the sidewalk and it says, all Americans must be accompanied by an adult. And others are saying, well, you cannot leave elections to Americans alone in the United States because since the rest of the world is going to be affected by what happens here, then we need to at least have like 10% of the vote or something to create some balance and ballast. Yes.
Perhaps they didn't realize people how we suffer when they decide suddenly not to help. For example, I lead a refugee camp where there are 70,000 people, and we are 11 nationalities, citizens. Afghanistan, they are there, Eritrean, South Sudan, Congolese, Burundian, Ethiopian, and immediately those organizations who were they were helped by the USA, yes, the Corporation of America. They went, they left.
Overnight?
Yes, and we were there as Maison Shalom, our organization. And we don't know what to do because there are babies, there are very old people, there are 29,000 children must go to school, and we must have water, and they decide like that. They didn't even call us and prepare, explain what to do.
Or give you a 3-month notice before being expelled from the island.
And this, it's why I am here to say to you, it's not really that those people, African people or other, who are suffering, because we are one human family. You must understand, when people decide to stop to be human, then they are very poor. It's a shame for the humanity. How then we must stand up? Now, we must stand up, everybody. We must speak up. We must rise up. And we must say, okay, we must stop to be stupid. Because when I am in this refugee camp, when I saw all those children, it's the future. It gives me hope. And we are, everybody here, the builder of hope. We can't say, okay, it's our problem. Because if a part of our humanity is dying, then we lost our humanity.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Maggie. So, Julienne.
Yes?
Just a quick word from you about how you are rethinking, compelled to rethink, because perhaps this crisis is creating an opportunity to figure out new ways of being effective with the constituencies that you serve, since you can no longer rely on the full faith and credit of the United States. Does this present an opportunity for you to rethink how you manage your program and where you get the help you need?
Yes. When we beginning our association, we don't have money from outside. We work without salary. We try to do what we can. But we know also that to extend, to give all support, we need also fund from outside. But now we try to continue to contact some foundation to ask them, but it's not easy also because our money comes from some foundation here. But they also send us a message to say, oh, we don't know if we will continue because now perhaps they will stop us to send money to you. Yeah. But I say, okay, now how we can do? Because we go when we ask for foundation, they went there to stop. We have some individual donator, I don't know,
Donors,
who
yes.
give us small money through Foundation Roi Baudouin in New York. But we don't know if they will continue to support us. But Africa, we know that
also change.
we have money.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We can, our government must do that. But earlier, we asked government, USA government and Europe, to ask them, you need to ask our government accountability because you give them money, but you don't know where they use it, you don't ask them.
So the irony of Congo in particular is that Congo should be giving the rest of the world money.
Yeah, but they need to stop war.
That's right, that's right.
They need to stop war and to organize things correctly to help our government to fight corruption, to have good governance, and each one can benefit to.
Thank you, thank you. So I want us to sort of bring our conversation to a close by outing you, Maggie. I know you are approaching your biblical 70 in a year's time, what we might call the eldership of love. And that seems to be the central theme of the story of your life that you've written in this book. Can you explain the role for you in this age of casual cruelty, the role that love plays in our ability to continue to try to improve human life?
You know, Africa, for example, got so much help. But if you have no love, this money, you will waste the money because you will not see that discharge, for example. For me, why I explained that love made me inventor. When I began, I have no house. I was in the street. I have no money. And the journalist asked me, what's your strength? I said, but if you have love, you become inventor. And of course, I will talk to the mothers who are here. You know your child is going to die, but you will disturb everybody. I can tell you that I began to disturb everybody. I go in church, I explain to the Catholic bishop that he must give me a place where I can raise those children. And I went in UNICEF, I went in Rome.
Who could ever say no to you, Maggie?
But because of love, and I can tell you, if you have love, you are rich. But it's not money who transform the lives. Yes, of course, I know that Kurt, who is here, or my children will say, but why you don't ask money? Finally, because I have conviction, I stood up. Everybody want to help me because if they don't help me, I steal the money. I went in the bank to ask a credit, but they ask me, what you have how you will pay back? I said, but love. Yeah. And the bank, imagine one day, the manager of the bank said, this crazy woman, she came and she said, I know that I will pay because love over l'amour pour dépasser la loi. The law, I know, and I got the money to pay back. Then don't forget that you can transform this world with your love, but with your money also, because there are so much money in the world.
Thank you, thank you. All of your stories are really inspirational for the rest of us, and they give us courage and encouragement. And I would like to thank you for the work that you do and for the people that you are. Please join me in thanking our panel.